Good morning. Thanks for being here. It's good to see a full room. We're so glad you're here to help us celebrate our 5th anniversary of Fearless. That does deserve a round of applause. We have a few more people trickling in, so we'll give it a minute. I'm Stacy Thompson, Director of Events for Business Publications Corporation, and it is truly my honor to welcome you all here today. As I mentioned, today marks 5 years of Fearless. It represents 5 years of women stepping up and speaking out. And as we celebrate this milestone, it's a perfect moment to pause. It's a perfect moment to reflect and acknowledge how far we've come, but more importantly, it's a time to gain momentum as we continue to move forward. Because Fearless was never meant to be a finish line. It's not a destination. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It's a movement. Fearless is a muscle that we have to continue to flex and frequently strengthen. It means showing up when it's hard, especially when it's hard. And choosing courage over comfort. Ultimately, Fearless is finding strength in the vulnerability and building resilience from adversity. And as we know, growth does not always look like progress. But every single step forward, no matter how small or insignificant it may seem, matters. That's how progress happens, one challenge, one choice, and one brave step at a time. Because each time one of us steps forward, pushing through the discomfort and the adversity, we help clear the path just a little more for those who will follow. So today, I want to thank all of the women who have shared their stories, shown their vulnerability, and kept showing up with courage. You've made the way brighter and the climb easier for the next generation. For me, that includes my daughter, Elena, who was just 10 years old when we launched Fearless in 2020, from home during COVID, with a new puppy. So it's good to see you all in real life. She, like so many young women, are watching how we lead, how we rise from setbacks, and how we each lift each other up. We are showing them what's possible. We're teaching them courage and compassion and community that will carry us all fearless forward. It's also important to recognize what has gotten us to this point. Over these last 5 years, our dedicated Fearless team has produced 258 newsletters, published more than 500 stories, and featured over 60 speakers from across our state. Each story and each voice and each event held has helped build this powerful community of courage and connection. Just look around you. And this year, we're celebrating that journey in a brand new way. Hot off the press, literally hot yesterday, our newly published Fearless book. It brings together 33 stories that honor the experiences and the wisdom of the women who have inspired us these 5 years. This collection isn't just a reflection, it's a reflection of how far we've come, but it's a reminder that the movement continues because of each of you. Because our stories are what makes Fearless a living, breathing movement. You can purchase your own copy using the QR code or go to our website. And later today, we'll have 2 lucky winners that will receive a signed copy by Connie Weimer. So, a big thank you to our BPC team who worked tirelessly to make this happen, our creative team led by Kate Meyer, and our Fearless editorial team led by Emily Wood, who you'll hear from later, and to Lynn Belknap, who spearheaded this initiative to ensure that these stories aren't lost and that it provides inspiration as we keep moving forward. With that, the pace and momentum that we've had over these 5 years certainly wouldn't be possible without the support of our sponsors. These partners believe not only in the Fearless mission of today's event, but also understand the importance of keeping up that momentum. And with that, I'd like to take a moment to recognize them. As a leading Midwest law firm with over 400 attorneys across US, China, and Mexico, Frederickson is known as the firm where law and business meet. Please welcome to the stage attorney and shareholder, Emily Pontius.
Good morning. I'm an attorney at Frederickson, and I am very honored to be here today with past Women of Influence honorees, event sponsors, and all of you. In 2020, I was extremely thrilled to be asked to be a Fearless ambassador when Fearless was launched. And I have been inspired and motivated by the stories of fearless women that have been shared in the years since. I hope the Business Record and Fearless continue telling these stories and honoring the women who shape our workplaces and our communities. My law firm, Frederickson and Byron, is extremely proud to be an ally sponsor of today's events. This is where I shamelessly promote the place where I work, so brace yourselves, here we go. We are one of the fastest growing law firms in our region with more than 400 attorneys, serving clients across Iowa, Minnesota, North Dakota, Wisconsin, Mexico, and China. Our commitment to exceptional client service drives us to continually evolve, meet new challenges, and live our values. One of those values is investing in and supporting all of our attorneys so they can build successful careers and meaningfully contribute to their communities. The majority of Frederickson's board of directors are women, and our firm's president, COO, and the head of our office here in Iowa are also women. For the 12th consecutive year, Frederickson has earned national recognition from Law 360 for the percentage of women who advance to equity partnership at the firm. Women at Frederickson are practicing law, and increasingly, we also own the place. And we recognize and celebrate that having women at the top does not make us all that unique in Des Moines. Women are, as we should be, leading our most influential corporations, banks, nonprofits, educational institutions, arts organizations, and yes, law firms. I am personally grateful to live and work in a city where women are recognized as ready and willing to take on the challenges of leadership. Frederickson is glad to be here to welcome you to the Fearless Annual Celebration. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Up next, Community State Bank. It's one of the largest community banks in central Iowa, led by a leadership team that is comprised of 75% women. Community State Bank is an avid supporter of women's initiatives in the community, and you've seen them, I'm sure, there, and we're happy to have them here today. So please welcome to the stage Executive Vice President, Chief Lending Officer, and a 2011 Woman of Influence, Kim Butler-Hedges.
Well, good morning, everybody. Community State Bank is a proud sponsor of today's Fearless event. With 9 locations around the metro and predominantly fearless female leadership and employee base, we strive every day to live the CSB mission, which is to connect, build, and serve the communities where we also choose to live and make our home. As I look around this room, I see so many fearless women who have blazed trails, overcome adversity, and broken barriers. Fearless women are resistant, authentic, purpose-driven, and empower other women by giving them themselves to lift others up. You can read all about Community State Bank on the back of your program. I really wanted to take my time to introduce you to Mark and Mary Jo. What you need to know about this couple is that Mark was a federal administrative law judge until he was declared legally blind 45 years ago. Mary Jo is his domestic partner. She is a lawyer by education, but spent most of her career as a flight attendant. What you also need to know is that this photo was taken in Italy, which, by the way, there's not a flat surface or a paved street almost anywhere. Mary Jo is Mark's eyes. You can see he places his hands on her shoulder and walks behind her, with her guiding his every step. 2 small steps up, honey, 1 big step down. They both struck me as fearless. Mark, overcoming the adversity of losing his sight, but resilient enough to move forward with life, including travel to foreign countries. Mary and Jo empowering Mark to live his best life. Being fearless involves a huge amount of trust to embrace the unknown, sometimes literally blindly placing your faith in others, to achieve your dreams. Being fearless isn't being immune to fear, but facing it and acting anyway. Choosing courage over comfort, daring to go blindly into the world. Sometimes, the only available mode of transportation is a leap of faith. I hope you enjoy your time this morning at this amazing event and leave inspired by the stories you're going to hear. A lot of the words you're hearing are going to be common words of overcoming adversity, resiliency, and just moving forward. But again, Community State Bank is really proud to be here and support the efforts of all the women in the room. Have a great morning.
It's a great story, thanks, Kim. Our last sponsor, NCMIC, is one of the nation's largest providers of chiropractic and naturopathic malpractice insurance. They offer professionals comprehensive business solutions to help them succeed with confidence. And here to say a few words for NCMIC is Vice President of Marketing, Polly Loneman.
Hello. I have to say, this is probably the most attractive room I've ever been in, so good job. It's been a work from home week for me, and so my husband said, you're gonna, I'm gonna get ready. So here I am, okay? Here I am. Well, as you just heard, I'm Polly Loneman. I am the VP of Marketing at NCMIC, but that's not actually my favorite term. What people call me is mom and wife. I am the mother to twin girls who passed away in 2015, where my fearless journey actually began. In 2016, we were blessed with an almost 9-year-old little boy, today. His name is Maverick. He's a Mohawk-wearing little guy, but he also had a pretty rough entry where we almost lost him at birth. I'm the wife to Jeff. I'm a lot, and so he has really been a saving grace for me. I just have to call that out. I'm a proud team member with the others at NCMIC. We've been in the game for nearly 80 years. Next year, we'll celebrate our birthday. We have words that we live by, which are, we take care of our own. And we don't just say it, we mean it. I will tell you that in business and in life, this is how we treat each other. In fact, in 2025, we've given nearly $1 million back to this community. That's largely unheard of, especially for a company, and it's unheard of for a company of our size, which I will tell you, we have 215 employees. Here's my mic drop moment, so get ready. Of those 215, 126 are women. And I'm also proud to say half of our leadership roles are occupied by women. So if you were to ask me, what does fearless leadership look like? It's creating space. It's lifting others, and yes, sometimes lighting the path for those who will follow. For me, being fearless isn't about pretending you're not scared. It's about doing the thing anyway. It's about saying, okay, maybe have gurgle guts, but we're gonna get through it, okay? It's the courage in being in the now and really embracing that. That's where courage comes from. It's in the doing. There's a quote I love from Mary Ann Cloyd, who is actually our board president. She says, don't wait for permission to lead. Create the opportunity and step into it. So, as we dive into today's conversations and stories of courage, confidence, and connection, let's remember that. Don't wait, create, and step forward. So ladies, and gentlemen too, let's adhere those lashes, hike up that shapewear, and refresh our lipstick. Here's cheers to being fearless.
Well, those are 3 of the most inspirational sponsor words that we've heard. You can all go home now. Thanks for coming. I'm just kidding. Thank you again to each of you. I know that you've been longtime sponsors and clearly are owning the place, so we appreciate it. These sponsors have helped ensure that this fearless community continues to inspire and connect, so we're grateful for that. And of course, we wouldn't be here without our fearless leader, who has the vision and leadership of Connie Weimer. Connie once said that every time you take a risk of any kind, you go stronger and more confident. Therefore, more comfortable taking the next risk. This is what Fearless is all about. Connie's unwavering belief in empowering others continues to inspire everything we do at BPC. While she truly needs no introduction, it's my honor to share a special welcome message from Connie. Thank you, Connie, and thank you for creating a space where women can lead boldly, no matter their industry, their background, or their stage of life. But we're also here because of each of you. Every one of you has shown up, shared your story, stood by another woman in strength and solidarity. So thank you for being here, and thank you for continuing to move Fearless forward. And it's now my pleasure to introduce someone who embodies that spirit, Emily Wood, Special Projects Editor for the Business Record and one of the driving forces behind Fearless. Please join me in welcoming Emily.
Good morning, everyone. It's so great to see many new and familiar faces here in the room. I'm honored to be here with you all as we recognize 5 years of Fearless. Our goal with the initiative is to empower Iowa women to succeed in work and life. And Fearless has definitely challenged what some might expect from us as a business publication. Just in this past year, we have covered stories about solutions to the childcare crisis, maternal health care, disability inclusion, gender equity in the workplace, leadership, and so many more topics. We invest in this work because we believe that women's issues are everyone's issues, and we believe that supporting women and gender nonconforming individuals ultimately helps everyone. I'm so proud of the stories that we've told and the guest essays that we've published from many in this room and the connections that we've fostered. We hope that this work has made you think differently while at the same time giving you something that you can relate to. Many of the stories we've told show just how resilient Iowans can be. And the women that we'll hear from today certainly represent that. We've designed today's program with a mix of inspiration from our speakers and engaging activities. We hope you leave here encouraged and you have some new connections that you can take with you on your personal journeys. I'm happy to bring onto the stage Macy Shofroth, our Fearless editor. Macy reports, writes, and designs our Fearless newsletter each week. She spent hours over several months reporting the stories that you'll find in the publications on your tables. And in the publication, you'll find a story about today's speakers, as well as other Fearless Iowa women. We encourage you to check out all the stories from these individuals, including Amy Wichtendahl, Clarissa Chun, Jennifer Garside, Sylvia Nemmers, Lalonyo AnyaCeng, who's a speaker today, and Shanna Sieck, also a speaker today. I will turn it over to Macy for our first speaker introduction.
Thank you, Emily. Lalonyo AnyaCeng was born in a refugee camp in Uganda. Her parents fled conflict in South Sudan while her mother was pregnant with her. She spent the first 16 years of her life living in refugee camps. Her family was to come to the US in 2001, but were delayed for 4 years after the events of 9/11. They finally arrived in New York City on a cold January day in 2005. A woman wearing a black suit and a brown coat greeted them in the airport, and Lalonyo quickly decided she would do anything she could to one day afford a brown coat and a black suit just like hers. Lalonyo now lives in Des Moines with her 4 sons and owns her own business, Cleaning for Hope. She shared in her Fearless story what it was like to navigate being a young refugee in America and how she worked to build a life where she could buy her own black suit and brown coat. So I'd like to welcome Lalonyo to the stage.
Thank you so much for being here.
Oh my God, I'm almost crying hearing that. I'm just so humble and excited.
Yeah. Well, so Macy mentioned this woman that was in the black suit and the brown coat. So can you tell us a little bit more about why she was so inspiring to you?
Before I started, I want to say that my name used to be Lilian Okech, so I just changed my name to Lalonyo AnyaCeng. So some people might be confused, like, I thought that is Lilian. So I recently just changed my name. So to go back to your questions, I was born in refugees camp and living in refugees camp for 15 years. I never see a woman wearing a suit. So here I am, a young girl from refugees camp. I arrived in New York City airport, and the woman who welcomed us to America, she was African-American woman. She was wearing a long black hair and a black suit and a brown coat. She was walking toward us with just a confidence. When I look at her, I froze. I don't know what it was, but I tell myself, I said, I don't know what it will take for me to be in this country, but one day I just want to wear a black suit and a brown coat.
Amazing. So your experience as a refugee in the camps and then in coming to the United States, you had several times where your future was uncertain. What advice do you have for others who are navigating uncertainty in their lives?
I would say it is very difficult, especially when you come from a different country. I came here when I was 15. I didn't speak any English. I started learning my ABC in 9th grade. But for some reason, I know that there have to be a reason why God saved me and bring me in America, and I have to find a way. And they said, I always believe this, pioneer, they don't have a blueprint. They are the blueprint. And I decided to build the blueprints, especially for refugees, women, that they come in this country, they don't know where to start, they don't know how to start new life. So I decided to be that in my community.
Yeah, and your business is certainly part of your blueprint.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite part of owning your business?
The beautiful part about owning my business is mentor women. Telling the women they can do it. It's very difficult, especially in refugees community. If you tell them they can start their own business, they don't think it's possible. But I said, I own a business for over 7 years now. It is possible. You have to get in the room. It's not easy to get in a room where you don't know anybody, but mentoring them, seeing them change, and seeing them grow into their own business is what make me keep going with my cleaning business.
Yeah, and your title, Cleaning for Hope, and specifically making sure that hope is in the title, what role has hope played in your life?
I always joke that my middle name is Hope because in every room that I enter, I don't look at diversity, I look at hope. I question myself, what can I do to make this place a better place? How can we bring more hope into this place? And so with my cleaning business, I was a single mother, of course, with 4 boys. I started just by cleaning our church, and people see the work and they start asking me if I can clean their home. And that way, Cleaning for Hope come about because the cleaning did not only bring hope for me and my boys, it also bring hope for the people in the community. Because when we clean people's house and they don't want anything like their clothes or their furniture, they donate it to us, and I give it back to the community. So Hope is my middle name.
Yeah. What do you think we should be doing to support other women?
Just by doing stuff like this, just by sharing our story and helping each other, because we as women, We are powerful. At the same time, we sometimes forget who we are, and we are so busy supporting our family, our kid. We forgot about who we are. But if we can come together and help, if you help one woman, you help the whole village. Because that woman that you help, she's not going to keep the thing that she has by herself. Just like for me, starting a cleaning business, it's not only for my family, it's to help all the entire refugees. So if you help one woman, we as women, we are created to nurture. So if we help each other, we stand behind each other, and we push each other forward. Sometimes it's just a little bit of word to just say, you can do it, you are enough, you belong there. That little word, it will give you something to stand strong, just like that woman at the airport. I don't even remember her name, but just her confidence give me the spirit that I can also wear a black suit in America.
Wow. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with us, and I hope everyone checks out the full story in the publication, but appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Emily. For our next speaker, the Business Record has named Des Moines University President Angela Franklin the 2025 Women of Influence Alum of the Year. The annual award was launched last year to celebrate one of the past women of influence who has continued making an impact since being honored by the Business Record. All those who've received the award in the past were invited to nominate fellow alumni. Franklin, who was first honored as a Woman of Influence in 2014, became the 15th president of Des Moines University Medicine and Health Sciences in 2011. She is from McCormick, South Carolina. She graduated from Furman University and is a Phi Beta Kappa. She went on to complete her PhD in clinical psychology at Emory University and a year-long clinical internship at Grady Memorial Hospital. Franklin has more than 25 years of experience in higher education, previously serving as Executive Vice President and Provost at Meharry Medical College in Nashville, Tennessee, where she also held a professorship in the Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences. Franklin has made a significant impact in recruiting students to study medicine at DMU. Janice Lane Schroeder, a 2021 Woman of Influence, nominated Franklin for the Alum Award. And she said, Dr. Franklin and her team have been intentional in their curriculum to ensure students are skilled and equipped to work with the most complex cases in a culturally responsive and competent manner. She has proven her commitment to our state and community by launching a campaign to build a new campus in West Des Moines. So congratulations to Dr. Franklin, and thank you so much for being with us today. You can come up to the stage.
I was told I could take this here since I had nowhere to hook the mic. Okay. Well, it's a real honor to be selected for this award, and I just want to acknowledge the two individuals that I understand nominated me, Tiffany Tauscher as well as Janice Lane Schroeder, fellow women of influence, but I want to thank all of you that voted in support of me in this award. I have to just acknowledge Connie Weimer because, you know, we all aspire to be Connie Weimer. And I can't tell you how proud I am to know her and to have the support of her and all of the women here to be recognized for this award. Thank you all. Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much for being with us. What's one of the biggest lessons that you feel like you've learned in your career?
One thing in particular that I think is real important for me as I not just aspire to a college presidency, but the knowledge that most women typically are challenged with this idea of the imposter syndrome. And a lot of times we fight against it by overdoing and making sure we double and triple check all the boxes. So one thing that was a life lesson for me, that as now being in this role for as long as I've been here, that the most important lesson is that we need to all learn how to just be ourselves, being our authentic self, which maybe a phrase that's overused, but I think a lot of times we spend time trying to make sure we are enough and more than enough, and that we do all the things right. We sometimes forget to realize that people just want to know us for who we are. And I think this phrase is attributed to Teddy Roosevelt that said, people don't care what you know until they know that you care. And just being reminded of that in a leadership role, that sometimes you come in just trying to get the work done, and you want to achieve because you want to fight that imposter syndrome. But people just want to know you for who you are, just being your authentic self. So that was the one thing that I think I brought along with me to DMU, and also that I think serves me well in how I try to inspire others to leadership.
Speaking of inspiring others, if you were to go back and inspire your younger self, what would you tell yourself then?
It's okay to be Angela from McCormick, South Carolina. That little girl that was dreaming big and couldn't imagine doing what I do today. I never thought I'd do what I do today. But being that small town girl in a family that believed a lot of me and poured everything they had into me, to just be able to say, it's going to be okay, and you will get there. Because I had a lot of doubts, as women typically have. And of course, some of you know the story that when I was considered for the position here, I didn't think they'd ever hire me. That doubt always gets in the way, right? And what I did know is that they were afraid if they offered the job to me, I wouldn't come because it's Iowa, right? So realizing that whereas I'm doubting that I'm ready for the role, they had other concerns that now that I know that, it was, wow, maybe I shouldn't have been doubting myself in the first place.
How do you keep yourself motivated?
I think what motivates me the most is this sense of purpose, sort of pulling on my spiritual faith and confidence in sort of a higher power that sort of orders my steps. And I think the motivation I have is that I really truly believe coming to a college presidency was a calling. Because otherwise, it must have been divine intervention, right? Because why would I be in Iowa, right? I'm a South Carolinian. I never had been here before and never imagined being here. So the fact that I was led to be here is part of that purpose-driven life. And I think that's my North Star, that I'm here for a reason, and my purpose is to serve, and as opposed to being served. So I really come to my role from a place of some sense of comfort in that I'm doing the right thing. This is a part of my purpose. So that motivates me. So in all challenging situations, I always sort of steal away to be reminded of what my purpose is.
Do you have any habits or practices that help keep you motivated?
Don't have a lot of time for a lot of hobbies, but I think I do. I love time with family, and my husband is here, Thaddeus, and I think the time with family is most important. I have a table full of women leaders at Des Moines University that I get to interact with every day. They inspire me. I have a love for the people that I get to work with and the students we inspire for greatness. Those are the things that keep me motivated. Falling back on this idea that I'm here for a reason, and that is the inspiration that keeps me going.
Yeah. What was it that ultimately made you decide to pursue a leadership role?
In college, I was always they call me the VOR, the voice of reason. So I was that girlfriend that people would always go to ask for advice. So I got that in college a lot, that I was always the person, well, let's see what she thinks. And then when I got to a leadership role or faculty member, I was always the person that people say, well, what does Angela think? So I thought, well, maybe if people are feeling I have something to offer and they have confidence in my advice, perhaps that's a sign that I can continue to do this. And so it was people's belief in me that I think inspired me to move forward. So, and having others then acknowledge that and support me in that is what allowed me to say, well, I can take the next step and then the next step. So I had wonderful mentors that inspired my leadership journey that I will be forever grateful for.
What do you think we need to be doing to support women who want to be leaders someday and those who are just stepping into leadership roles?
representation is everything, and we have a whole room full of other women leaders who stand up and lead and inspire others. So the more we can have people see themselves in the role, the better. I had an aspiration for a college presidency, but I didn't see many that looked like me as I was pursuing these opportunities. And I always said if I ever got there, I'd make sure I helped the next generation. Because the women college presidents that I knew, and women of color in particular, the very few as I was aspiring to pursue a higher ed leadership role. And a lot of them didn't have time because they were in a fishbowl and under a microscope and struggling because they had that imposter syndrome too. So they're just trying to do the work to move forward. So I always thought, well, gosh, if we have enough of us there, then we don't have to be so anxious about being in the role, and we can start relaxing a little bit and just doing the work, and then being reminded that we need to help somebody else get there too. So I always find time for any individual, any woman in particular who's interested in leadership, and I always make time, no matter what. I carve out time for some woman who might be wanting just a conversation. Sometimes it's just a conversation, words of encouragement. I make time for that, and I think we all should do the same.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Congratulations for
Thank
being
you.
selected.
Yeah.
And a fun fact, Dr. Franklin teamed up with BPC to publish her book, Leadership from the Ground Up. It's a look at what it means to lead with vision, grit, and heart, and basically the things that you stand for. At the end of today's program, we're actually going to do a little giveaway of her book, so make sure you stick around for that. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now we're really excited to share something a little bit new about what's happening with Fearless, and you're going to be the first ones to know. Next month, the Business Publications Corporation team is going to be expanding our content offerings via streaming services, and among a number of new ways to receive stories, we're going to be launching a Fearless podcast. This is something that our audience, thank you. This is something that our audience has been asking for a really long time, and we're honored to bring it to you. And we have a cherry on top. In addition to hearing from Macy and I in the podcast, we'll be joined by a special co-host, Ladrina Wilson, who is here with us today. Ladrina is a speaker, community advisor, and founder of Iman Consulting, and she lives in the Quad Cities. Ladrina earned her PhD in educational leadership at Iowa State University. She spent time in higher education, the nonprofit space, and in business. She loves storytelling, and I'm excited for all the energy and perspectives that she's going to bring to Fearless. So we've asked her here today to, one, introduce her to all of you that don't know her, and she's going to lead us through a little inspirational exercise. So let's give her a warm welcome.
Thank you so much. Well, good morning, ladies. I am going to get to talk for fun. I used to get the check mark on your report card for talk successively. Anybody remember that? Now I get paid to talk, and I get to do a podcast for fun. Full circle moment. So thank you so much for that warm introduction. We have a wonderful group of people here tonight, and I'm so honored to be part of a great community of women who are striving to achieve personally and professionally. And Fearless has created a space where we can tell those stories and share our stories. History teaches us that storytelling has been an integral part of the foundation of civilizations and cultures. We see this from indigenous cultures who share their teachings and learnings about ecological wisdom, and African proverbs that help guide us and calibrate our moral compass. Storytelling memorializes identities, preserves cultures, and unites communities. And Fearless carries on this tradition in the written form, and in some respects, this podcast honors our shared history of oral narratives. Speaking our stories carries great power. We speak what we believe and not what we fear. We converse in hopes that experiences that we've had or lessons that we learn prepare the next generation to knock down barriers or to create a new roadmap to success. Now, I want us to come back here and be present in just this moment. We have a tremendous opportunity right here before us. The people in this room will make the future. To help us get there, I have a brief activity that I've asked a handful of volunteers to come forward for. So if I spoke with you before the program began, now is your cue. I know you're nervous. Just come to the front, come to the front. There were 5, so I will know if someone drops off. You guys can come right to the front of the room. Spread out about arms width apart. They have no idea what they're going to do. I asked them specifically, do you have any mobility challenges, and have you ever run a mile in under 5 minutes? And they still volunteered. Okay, I'm gonna have you move a little bit to the left, just a little bit more. There we go. All right. I simply need you to follow a handful of directions for the benefit of everyone in this room. If you could please, and you can look back at me if you feel like you're gonna struggle with following directions. I know you're nervous, it's fine. I want you to raise your right arm about shoulder width height, okay? I want you to ball your hand into a fist, okay? Lift up your right thumb, okay. Now what you're gonna do is you are gonna keep your hips pointed forward and don't get nervous, okay? You're not gonna dance, it's not the Macarena, I promise. You're gonna put your keep your hips forward. You're gonna follow your thumb, don't move yet. You're gonna follow your thumb back as far as you can go. And when you do that, I want you to mark on the wall as far as you can go, okay? Put your arms down. Okay, we're gonna take it from the top. Right arm up, fist balled, thumb up. Now track with your eyes as far back as you can go. Mark that spot on the wall, just rotate. Okay, mark that spot. You got it? All right, go back to neutral. Go back to how you started. Now I'm going to ask you to do the exact same thing again. Okay, did you mark your spots? Okay, raise your right arm. Ball up that fist. Put a thumb up. Now I want you to track as far back as you can go. As far back as you can go, as far back as you can go. All right, did you go further the first time or the second time? Okay, put your arms down and head back to your seats. Thank you. I have done this activity with thousands of people, literally thousands of people. And every time, the second time, they go farther than they did the first. And it's not simply because we're stretched, right? That we've stretched out our hip flexors a little bit. For me, that'll probably be the most activity I get today, to be honest. It's a mindset. They got the same set of instructions the first time as they did the second time. But when they knew it required just a little bit more, they rose to the occasion. We are constantly in the present moment doing exactly what it is that is required in that moment, right? We may be caregivers to our parents or other loved ones. We may be mothers to our children. We may be leaders in our community, coworkers and colleagues to our team members, running an organization. You name it, we are called to do a lot of different things. And oftentimes, because we are called to do so many things, we are present in that moment. And that's fine, but I know that each person in this room has a little bit more. And when the situation calls for it, we can stretch to meet the moment. What I want us to do together now is on your table, you have a little card that says fearless. You should also have writing utensils at your table. I want us to be thinking about where we want to be 5 years from now. We are called to meet the moment now, but we also need to be thinking about our futures. We need to hold space for ourselves. You need to hold space for you. You have to make time to be restored and to become the version of yourself that the future demands. With those cards, what I want you to do with your writing utensil is to write down 4 or 5 words that you'd like to reflect who you will be and where you are headed in 5 years, if you went as far as you could. What are the 4 or 5 words that you would want people to describe you when you are being all that you can be and going as far as you can? Now, there's no right or wrong answer while you're jotting this down. And your words may reflect the season that you're in and where you're headed. Maybe you're at the point where you're building your career and you want to be magnetic. Perhaps you're sunsetting in your career and you want to be appreciated. Neither of those is more right or wrong than the other. Whatever it is that you want to be 5 years from now, I'd like you to write that down, and we'll take just a minute. And if I had to guess, there's about 200 people, 300, how many people are in this room? A little over 200. I'm gonna do something that's gonna get a little weird. When you're done writing your 4 or 5 words and your gaze meets mine, I'll know that you're done, and then I'll know we can move on. If you stare at me, it gets weird. I'm just this quick gaze, guys. Quick gaze. Sometimes the things we are doing require so much of us in the moment that we haven't thought that far in the future. All right. I want you to take these cards with you. I want you to put these cards on your vanity, on your mirror, on your dashboard, near your computer monitor, wherever it is that you think you will see it at least once a day. Put it somewhere where your eyes can connect with it. This is the commitment you're making to you. I want you to think about when you have to make tough decisions or when you have to make choices that maybe are a little bit hard. I want you to think about those 5 words. Is that decision going to nudge you a little bit closer to the version of you you said you wanted to be? Use this as your compass. Share it with the women at your table so they can hold you accountable. So much is required of us in this moment, but we also have to have a foot in our future, and we have to be intentional about it. Thank you so much for giving me some of your time today. I hope to be able to connect with you all soon through the podcast. At this time, I'm going to hand it back over to Macy for our next set of speakers. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Ladrina, for that wonderful activity. Shanna Sieck and her husband Curtis decided that she would stay home with their children after they were born. Her role of caretaker took on a whole new meaning when her middle son, Mason, was diagnosed with Gardner syndrome at age 2. When he was 6, they received the devastating news that Mason needed to be in hospice care. At age 7, he passed away from his illness. Mason was supported in his final days by Crescent Cove Respite and Hospice for Kids in Minnesota. Moved by the incredible care that Crescent Cove provided Mason and the rest of her family, Shanna and Curtis set out to open Iowa's first pediatric hospice and respite home. They are currently fundraising and searching for a site for Mason's Lighthouse. The nonprofit will become only the 4th pediatric hospice and respite home in the United States. Shanna was born and raised in Grinnell, where she and Curtis now live. They have 2 other children, Colton and Izzy, and she shared with Fearless how she's honoring Mason's life and ensuring that other kids get the same care as he did. So please join me in welcoming Shanna.
Thank you very much for being with us today. So you've taken a very challenging situation and used it as motivation to help others. How do you think that others who are facing a tough circumstance might be able to take that and use it as motivation for the others who are facing those kinds of challenges?
I think that they can really kind of zone in on the fact that things are hard in life. Nothing is, really rainbows and, fruity pebbles, right? So just to know that you can push through hard things and difficult things and make good out of them.
Yeah. What have been some of the challenges that you've faced in creating Mason's Lighthouse, and how have you kind of overcame those?
We actually have had to change legislature. So this past session, we had to change legislature just so we could really open and run our home the way that we want to run it. Most people would think that it would be like a skilled nursing facility, and it's a combination of a skilled nursing facility and a residential facility. So trying to change that, which we did accomplish. So thank you. But I will say on that too, my background is definitely not in legislative anything. And so to have to overcome that fear of walking into the Capitol and not knowing anything about where I'm going or what I'm doing was very nervous. It was very nerve-wracking for me. And I definitely walked out of there the very first time and thought, I can do this. Like, this wasn't so hard. So I think just pushing through those barriers that you really set for yourself is something that if you really try and work on, you can get through those.
Awesome. And I think you mentioned that there's been an update since Macy's story on land, right?
Yes, so we actually have found land in the Iowa City area, so we are just pushing forward through getting that deal done and approval with the city, so
awesome.
Yeah.
Great. So a lot of people tiptoe around the subject of loss, and I'm curious how you navigate the grief in your life.
Grief, it's a funny word, isn't it? You can definitely grieve at any time at the drop of a pen, but navigating through it, I think, is just trying to embrace all the special moments that that you're missing out on, and just finding a way to make them good. I think one of the things that we really do is, instead of celebrating Mason's birthday, we host our gala around his birthday, and that's our celebration. And so just like finding different things to really bring light to your situations and not making it so rough.
Yeah. I know when people are grieving, a lot of times people don't know what to say. They're afraid to say the wrong thing, and so sometimes that means they say nothing at all, or they avoid, make a beeline if they see you somewhere. So from your experience, what are some of the helpful things that we can do to support people through grief?
Showing up. Just show up. I think sometimes there's so many people that are saying, hey, reach out if you need something, or we don't really know how to help you, but they want to help, so they just kind of just sit there and don't say much, or they'll, like I said, just call if you need something. Generally, I'm not going to pick up the phone and say, hey, it's a real cruddy day today, and I just need you here. So I just think that, paying attention to those dates, birth dates, or, just different dates that are especially hard, and maybe reaching out and just saying, hey, do you want to go grab a cup of coffee today? Or what can we do today to just kind of celebrate those memories? Another thing that I think is very important is to not shy away from talking about that loved one that's passed, saying their name. Even our family has a hard time bringing up Mason's name, and I'm like, no, say it. The more we talk about him, my face, as you can see, will light up when I talk about Mason. And there's no point that anyone can say or bring his name up that's going to make me feel worse or miss him more than what I already do.
Yeah. What do you think that workplaces and as a society we should be doing to support caregivers?
That's a tough one. Really just giving them the time that they need. A lot of people, want to go with their work, and and they see that as a number. They see their employee as a number instead of just as a regular human being. And knowing that you have to work through life together and help each other succeed. And sometimes that means saying it's okay to take a step back. And if you need extra time during this, that's, it's supported.
Yeah. So you have your gala coming up in November?
Yep.
Awesome. Are there other ways that people can support you?
Yes, we definitely always have our gala in November. We have golf tournaments and different other fun things. Actually, Friday we have an event at Kendra Scott in West Des Moines. But then you can also donate on our website as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here, and I hope everyone checks out all of Shanna's story in our publication. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we heard a little bit from Connie earlier in our video, but we wanted to invite her up to share a few takeaways from the event.
Good morning. I want to, first of all, thank each of you for being here. I think being in a room with others that are sharing a journey is very uplifting. I always leave this event this far off the ground, just walking on air, having been with all of you. So thank you for coming. I also want to thank our sponsors, of course. There's no way we could do this without their support, and it makes a huge difference for a lot of people. I want to thank our 3 brave, strong, smart speakers. I learned something from each one of you. You're very inspiring. Thank you. I want to thank Angela for all she has done for the community. The choice of her for Alum of the Year was very, very easy this year. She's done incredible things for the community, for the school, for women, for her staff. And lastly, for thanks, I want to thank the staff that puts this event and about 39 others together. And they always appear flawless, Stacy and Andrea particularly, but everybody pitches in. Thank you very much to each one of you. I want to leave a couple of messages this morning. I want to emphasize my interpretation of fearless. When we chose this name 5 years ago, there was a lot of discussion and a little pushback saying, that's not appropriate. But what I have learned in my lifetime is that fearless doesn't mean you are without fear. It means you move ahead despite fear. And I often say, if you don't have some fear in your professional life, you're not doing what you ought to be doing. Find a way to stretch yourself because of that fear. And I want to give you a couple of examples. When a fireman runs into a burning building, everybody says, oh, he's fearless. Well, of course, he was filled with fear, but he moved on despite that. I can give you a couple of personal examples. The first time I did a bungee jump, I looked at a woman who had climbed. It was actually on the river here in Des Moines, and bungee jumping was kind of a new thing. And when I saw the woman ahead of me climb literally a ladder to get up high enough, and she just couldn't do it. So she came down the ladder. So as she came down that ladder, I said, if you go up, you're only coming down one way. And I was very, very frightened when I stepped off, and it was a wonderful thrill. And a number of years later, I did it in New Zealand from that very, very high bridge. And the thrill the second time, it was a much greater distance, was, and it just happened to be my 75th birthday. And the person who was weighing you and taking down all these statistics said to me, "Oh, you're the oldest person who's ever done this." And speaking of age, I know most of you in the room know how old I am, but for the few that don't, I want to share that next week I'll be celebrating my 93rd birthday. And I'm frequently asked when people learn that what's your secret? And, you know, I have 3 lessons that I try to share, particularly with young women. I'm involved with a women's leadership program at Morningside University in Sioux City. And they asked me what I might want to include in the curriculum for these talented young women. And the first thing I said, I want them to dream big. I want them to have outlandish dreams, because if you don't dream it, it probably isn't going to happen. They come to Des Moines for lunch every year, and last year, my first question in the round table is, what is your biggest dream? First couple of years, I got a lot of I don't knows. By the third time, I think the staff had coached them and they were ready. And the first young woman that spoke up said, I'm going to be on the Supreme Court. And I thought, how wonderful. She has a huge, huge dream. And you know what? I'm betting on her. I'll bet she will be. The second thing I wanted them to include was to take risks. Somehow, as young women in my age group, we weren't encouraged or taught to take risks. And you only make big strides when you're willing to take smart, calculated risks. And the third thing I asked them to include, to teach them negotiation skills. Again, something that years ago young women didn't feel comfortable doing. And I now say, you know, don't just get comfortable negotiating, get so good that you love it. And remember that a good negotiation gets something for each party that they wouldn't have gotten otherwise. So approach it with that attitude. Well, to close, I'm going to share the 4 things I wrote down on my little card as I would want people to be able to describe me in 5 years. Can anyone guess the first one? Alive. The second one is to be happy, because we always do our best and can give more when we are happy. The third one is to still be giving back to individuals and the community. And the last one is inspiring others to be fearless and take risks. Thank you again for being here.
Connie failed to mention was the last 2 birthdays she also jumped out of a plane. So we'll see what she chooses to do next week. They're going to start dropping lunch, so I'm just going to finish up a couple last remarks, and then we'll give you an opportunity to stay and connect the fellow table mates. But we want to invite you to please share with us your good news through advertising. Don't be a stranger if you want to share story ideas, or if you want to support BPC or Fearless in a better way, you can reach out here. Again, if you wanted to purchase the book, you can head to our website, fearless.com. And as promised, there's 4 surprises. This is very Oprah-esque. I promise there's no cars, but if you... Didn't have it in the budget this year, but look under your seat. There's 4 folks under their seat that has a coupon. We're going to give away 2 of Dr. Franklin's books as well, and 2 copies, signed copies of our new book, Fearless. You can, they're about this big. Oh, this is entertaining. We might have to help you find them. Whenever you find them, you can just go back to Andrea. She'll have the books back there. Again, we invite you to stay, enjoy lunch, which is on its way out, connect and reflect with those folks. Thanks for being here, and thanks for being a part of this community to help keep moving Fearless forward.